Believe me. Alright, so the Skyblock wiki really needs an update, because if you go to the Mythos fragment page and you scroll down and you look at some of the recipes here, you can click on the recipe for Mythos boots, and instead of taking you to the Hypixel wiki, it takes you to the Minecraft wiki, and obviously there's no page for Mythos boots there, So this is just something interesting you can do. I believe similar also happens if you click on the leggings. So if I click on Mythos leggings, there we go. We are now on the Minecraft wiki. I don't even know how this links you to the wrong wiki in its entirety, but we definitely need some new wiki editors because things have been getting crazy.
I tell you.
Pathing, boo. This is press.
No.
Sorry for
Hey,
about
dramatic reading of our top 3, Habu.
Alrighty. In 3rd place with 12 out of 20. Epic. Sorry. Yo, it's passing. It's passing. Fourth with 16 out of 20. I can't even think. Axel.
12 for 3rd place.
Hey, H. We had H in top 4.
Oh, H came back and won again? No way.
You top 4.
H has won like 3 of my Kahoots now. Oh my god, I can't believe that.
12 out of 20. Oh,
Dude,
no.
11,000.
Healers aren't supposed to be played alone. The entire point of them is to, you know, heal their allies. So how the hell am I gonna beat Inferno mode solo? Am I just gonna wait for the bosses to die of old age? The goal of this video is to figure this out. Like, what are our weapons if we even have any? And are they any good? And if they aren't, does solo healer have any edge over the other classes? I do know that most healing tools do not work on ourselves, so being massively tanky from self-healing doesn't seem to be an option. However, I also know that healer has something, and that something might have turned healer into my new favorite class. Alright, well, agreed. I guess the nano machines would be been doing, but after how it's gonna be gummy. I haven't fucking choked last second. It was close. Right, and no, I'm just kidding. It's fun, honestly. So fucking GG's. I will see you next time. We will be doing some sort of vanilla run. Actually, I'll just tell you right now. As a gift to the people who stayed till the end, we're gonna be doing one sitting of vanilla. I'm gonna beat 1.4.5 in one stream. Stay tuned for that. If you like streams, please pay me a visit.
A second U.S. citizen has been killed by federal agents. The Trump administration has made a lot of claims about the victim, Alex Preddy, and how things played out. But videos tell a different story. So we're going to do something a little unusual. We're going to play a video of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's description of the events. At the very same time, we're going to show you the footage so that you can judge for yourself. And a warning here, this video is very hard to watch. Take a look.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
So we wanted to play that for you to see what she is saying and what the video shows. Now, of course, this incident has brought massive protests across the city of Minneapolis. Local police and state investigators say they were initially denied access to the scene even after getting a court order from a judge. They did get access eventually, but not until the next day, and they are still investigating. There is also a federal investigation led by an office of the Department of Homeland Security, but not the FBI. A second U.S. citizen has been killed by federal agents. The Trump administration has made a lot.
Ever since the early days of the game, players have been trying to push the difficulty to the absolute limit. Even though extremely hard levels were initially frowned upon by most of the community, many people were still trying to push the barrier just a bit above, with many of the resulting levels being highly remembered to this day. Except, many people failed, and secret ways eventually became a huge threat to the rating system. If too many levels with hidden roads got rated, the leaderboards would become useless. Rooftop had to act, and he did. This is the story of the first ever bot for Geometry Dash, and how it was not only used to prevent players from easily cheating levels, but also how the game developer, in quite a twist of fate, used it to cheat a completion himself. Let's get started. So, what was Rooftop trying to prevent in the first place? In case you didn't know, to upload a level to the Geometry server, you need to verify that it is possible by completing it in normal mode. This is done for a number of reasons, be it an attempt to increase the average level quality, or just to discourage people from simply building a wall that you can jump over and calling it a day. But, as a possibly intended side effect, it also prevents you from publishing levels outside of your skill range, and as such, various methods were used to get around this requirement over time. In fact, it initially didn't even exist at all. This might come as a shock to most people nowadays, but when the game came out, practice mode verifications were not only a thing, but actually an intended feature. This feature was short-lived though, as Rooftop decided to remove it in update 1.1 because it apparently encouraged badly structured levels. And while a glitch that still allowed you to do this was found in update 1.2, that was also patched very shortly after, and as a result, players had to turn to a much more simple and obvious solution: secret ways. Now, to say the trend of secret ways was new in update 1.3 would be an overstatement. It certainly was not, but it was only with this update that they became a necessity and started appearing in way more levels. Which wouldn't be an issue in itself if this update didn't also introduce another important feature of the game: the leaderboards. As a recap, the way the leaderboards work is fairly simple. Players collect stars and whoever has the most is top 1. Levels are assigned star difficulty ratings by Rooftop, the game developer, with the demon difficulty, which was also introduced in this update, always awarding the maximum possible amount of 10 stars. The only difference here from today is that the 1-star rating wasn't dedicated to auto levels, but it was also used for some short easy levels. Now imagine this: you play a demon level, and instead of having to complete the entire difficult course on your own, you find a hidden portal midway through that allows you to skip most of it. Sounds familiar? I've just described the concept of secret way demons. And that isn't just a hypothetical scenario, but exactly what people who played the level BP Night saw. This level came out only 4 days after the update, and gained a demon rating very quickly due to its unprecedented difficulty. Nobody knew that there was a hidden road when it came out, but as time went on, more and more players started abusing it, and as a result, BP Night became the first level to ever lose its difficulty rating. But that was too late. A lot of people have already completed the level and got to keep the stars. And while 10 stars alone wouldn't have been the end of the world, this was starting to show a systemic issue. And over time more and more levels with hidden roads would appear. Rocktop had to do something if he wanted the in-game leaderboards to keep any value. And honestly, the solution he came up with was way ahead of its time. Let me introduce the Secret Way Prevention System. If you are currently active in the community, you are probably familiar with the art of botting. Players play a level in practice mode, record a macro containing their inputs, and then play this macro back in normal mode to make it look like they beat the level. This isn't something the game usually allows you to do, but community-made tools for this have existed since at least 2017. The principle of the built-in Secret Way Prevention system is very similar. All of the players' inputs are recorded during the verification attempt, and Rocktop can play them back. And while he has only shown this ability very recently on his streams about the upcoming 2.2 update, looking deeper into the game code reveals that this feature was added all the way back in update 1.6, 3 years before the first public bot was made. This gave Rocktop a huge advantage at the time. He could record a showcase video of any level with practically zero effort. And this is exactly what he did with his Clubstep V2 showcase video, uploaded on the 5th of April 2014, 2 weeks after the update came out. Or at least, that's what I suspect. So even though we know that Rocktop had access to this feature, what evidence do we have that he used it for that particular video? If you've ever botted a level, you have surely come across the inconsistencies of the game's physics. Lag spikes, refresh rate discrepancies, all of that counts. And it is practically RNG if a level will complete with the exact same set of inputs. This problem is even further amplified if your replay comes from a completely different device. Rocktop had to make his replays work consistently, otherwise they would be useless. Except he couldn't. Properly fixing the replays would require fundamental changes to the game's physics engine. That was something he couldn't do. The replays already existed, and in many, the player kept dying. Except, what if it didn't? You see, Rocktop didn't just invent the first ever bot for the Secret Way Prevention system, but he also added another cheat that the community would later recreate for its own purposes. This cheat would later on become known as NoClip. It's very simple in principle. Anytime you're supposed to die, you simply don't. This allows you to literally pass through obstacles and carry on as if nothing happened. And this is exactly what happens at multiple points in the video. And how does this prove that he botted the completion? Well, not only do we know from analyzing the game itself that it enables NoClip when playing back a replay, but we have even seen this happen when demonstrated by Rocktop himself on a Twitch stream.
None of you saw what happened. Super sneaky.
And since there are no other known conditions for NoClip to get enabled in Rocktop's development builds of the game, this is why I believe that his Clubstep V2 video was the first ever botted for the same purpose.
Engage your core.
All right, perfect.
Oh, another year, another massive tech flop to look back on. Because the 2020s have been a phenomenal decade for complete and utter shit. First, there was the explosion of non-fungible tokens in 2021, and right after was every tech giant's historic glazing of the metaverse. Y'all remember when every company and tech bro said that the metaverse will be the future, or that virtual reality would replace the internet? Well, half a decade later, and the only thing I remember the metaverse for is, But what the hell even is the metaverse? Where did this thing even come from? And how did $100 billion investment dollars go down the drain with this idea? Well, it's pretty obvious to root this entire mess from the company that renamed themselves to it. The date is October 28th, 2021, and the world's greatest quote-unquote human, Mark Zuckerberg, reveals that they renamed the parent company of all of our favorite data harvesters from Facebook to Meta to unify their products under one brand, expand their portfolio beyond Facebook, and shift their focus to building the metaverse, with absolutely nothing to do with this massive data breach or this internal documents leak. Absolutely nothing to do at all.
Privacy and safety need to be built into the metaverse from day one. You'll get to decide when you want to.
Now, since Meta is a billion-dollar company, you'd expect this hour-long announcement to hit a home run, get you excited to the metaverse changing the world forever, and most importantly, convince you to invest in Meta after the things that never happened, allegedly. And let me tell you that they blew it out of the park with this one.
Hey, are you coming?
Yeah, just gotta find something to wear.
So in case you don't know, the metaverse was proposed as this virtual universe that would replace 2D profile pictures and video calls with 3D avatars and worlds. Like that one book that exists, I guess. That's definitely not just reskin VR technology because, you know, well, you can say, I actually have no fucking idea where this is going. Aside from the teasers just looking like a more boring VR chat, the biggest problem here was the complete lack of an actual vision, looking more like an hour of rambling about Mark's wet dream about the future. And in terms of wet dreams, I am thoroughly disappointed in him. I guess an out-of-touch reptile's fantasy of the future is to fence a dude with your $300 Meta Quest 2 headset. It would already be weird if any other company did this, but we really got the data breachers to lead this project. So, oh boy am I excited for the amount of ads in this one. Well, too bad they couldn't do that anyway because of just how lackluster the tech is. One interview had Zuck and the host in a virtual studio with about 6 polygons per character.
Do you have a favorite feature?
Check this out.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat.
This is so freaking cool.
Ads for the metaverse couldn't give their characters any legs, and the screenshots that Zuck would show on his Facebook were, With all these problems said, Meta still released their game, Meta Horizon Worlds, in December 2021, which lets you create your own worlds, play other people's worlds, and potentially earn money with their creator program. And when your billion-dollar game was literally just VR Roblox, it went just as well as you'd expect.
I shouldn't know anyone's age, but right as I walked in, a kid said, "How did you know I was 10?" And his name was Baby Shark 2013.
Obviously, things started off well due to curiosity, but both their player base and stock value would fall down a cliff for the next year because what the actual fuck is this? The experience would be fine as a free little indie game in beta testing, but this was a billion-dollar project meant to replace the internet, and $1 billion wasted on a goofy VR game that was buggy as hell, only attracted children, and still couldn't get their damn legs right. Like, damn, do y'all got a crush on Rec Room with the lack of legs in this game? And fun fact, they announced that legs would be added a whole year later, which was a lie because they were just motion tracked in post. Great job, guys. Maybe y'all should hire some actual VR devs instead of forcing random people to work for your vague tech fetish next time. Thanks. And you'd think their atrocious drop in stock value would stop them for good, but they still continued development for the next year, expanding their game to other countries and posting And somehow, people still glaze this shit to oblivion, and they got a collab with a fast food restaurant for this.
And again, what Wendy's could sell in the metaverse is stuff they would never sell. I'm telling you right now, if Wendy's made a lewd avatar of the Wendy's girl, it would sell.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, despite Meta itself failing, the metaverse remained enough of a buzzword in 2022 to 23 for other brands and tech bros to hop on the bandwagon. Most notably, our favorite child protection platform, Roblox, which hopped on this shit all the way back in 2021 with this thing. And let me ask them, what the actual fuck were you guys trying to do here? Make yourself look more serious to investors? Bitch, look at the games in your front page! No amount of metaverse bullshit can fix that! And let's not even talk about the item shop, shall we? But somehow with all this, they still got to host metaverse classics like Walmart Land, IKEA Land, Nike Land, and Gucci Land.
Some advertising. This is Walmart. You see what you've done? You've turned a lifelong loyal customer into a pissed off Lego guy.
And one thing you may notice here is the abundance of clothing you can buy, which was part of a whole movement for digital fashion.
Would you buy clothes that don't exist?
Hell nah, bruh. This is ridiculous. And a bunch of other people think so too. But I guess they didn't get the memo since they still hosted a Metaverse Fashion Week in 2023. And
Powered by blockchain technologies, metaverse fashion in spaces like Decentraland still require a huge amount of energy to run.
Please, Speed, I need this. My mom is kind of homeless. People paid real money for this, by the way. But by far, the most egregious scam of the metaverse was virtual land. Guys, real land has value because there's limited land. What the fuck could virtual land be worth if the supply is infinite? But dumb things like logic are nonsense when you can buy NFTs on virtual land. Good golly, Miss Molly, that'll do the job. Holy shit, yes! Yes! That's exactly what I want in the metaverse! An NFT room for all my prize collections that would definitely also not go to shit. And side note, all this NFT land talk just reminded me of Crypto Land. Man, oh man, what a time it was, huh? And funnily enough, the least scammy of these virtual land projects was Atlas Earth, since you could earn money from it, but just very slowly. At least the ads were some certified bangers.
Hey Mike, you also need to free Crypto Luigi. You need to play Atlas Earth mode that is in your phone. Then FAR for some hours to get 10 Ethereum is what you need to free him. Then go to story mode and free him. Team, I recommend you to farm a lot of...
If you haven't noticed, almost every project I've mentioned has a different meaning of the metaverse. One group says it's multiplayer VR. Another group says it's multiplayer non-VR. Another group says it's single-player non-VR. And Cryptoland, yeah, let's just add NFTs for this bullshit. The gist here is that thanks to the billionaire alien, the metaverse had no concrete meaning. So every company trying to profit from the idea just went in random directions to see if they stuck. And spoiler alert, none of them did. Even when I bank valued the metaverse as a $13 trillion opportunity, Roblox quietly removed all talks of the metaverse. Metafluence lost over 99% of their value. All the scam projects, got exposed. And Decentraland spent over $1 billion for a game with 40 active players. Going back to Meta, over 11,000 jobs and $100 billion research dollars went down the drain, with their stock even increasing when they announced spending cuts for the metaverse. Safe to say that by mid-2023, this shit was over. Especially when Zuck found a new tech fetish to obsess over, and that was AI. And unlike the metaverse, AI actually had a meaning and a purpose, with Meta stock becoming the highest it's ever been since they poured all their money into this technology instead. And I hope to God this bubble bursts too, because this is getting ridiculous. And I guess their final attempt at the metaverse was by Apple in 2024 with their Vision Pro. And I will give them credit for making actual dystopian tech that doesn't look goofy as fuck. But unfortunately, the only use for these $3,500 goggles is to pick up dust and make you look goofy in public. Not forgetting that one guy who vlogged himself wearing that shit right behind me while I was walking around SM Makati. Y'all gotta tell me what the name of his channel is so I can drop a big fat shit. I think it's safe to say that the metaverse is dead, at least for the foreseeable future. And there's one very clear reason why. No one even knew what the metaverse was, and it just ended up as a buzzword for virtual reality, kinda. Meta spent billions on it, only to deliver a subpar rec room with no purpose. And even when the red flags appeared, companies still gave it a chance, and failed miserably. And you know what's funny? Someone on Twitter even compared Zuckerberg's billion-dollar vision to Fortnite. And just think about it. Virtual worlds, hundreds of 3D avatars, proximity chat, and even Ray Ami is on here. I mean, what more could you ask for? With all the billions lost in this project, hopefully Zuckerberg and all the tech bros would finally learn their lesson once and for all. God damn it, man!
Stop flushing the toilet after you poop. We need the water for AI. Leave the poop...
So Roblox responded to the people who were tricking their age verification, and there's some misinformation going around about age checks getting potentially banned. You see, in their official blog post, Roblox stated that in order to prevent users from getting verified into the wrong age groups by either buying a verified account or having someone else complete an age check for them, they're going to be tracking your behavior on Roblox and start asking users to recheck their age if their chats don't match their verified age. But apparently all the protests that have been happening in-game have actually done something good, and now games can have their own pre-selected chat messages for things like team-based matchmaking. Meanwhile, there's that rumor that's been going viral that on April 22nd, the FTC and COPPA are going to ban age verifications for underage users and force Roblox to remove face scans. But that's because people never read past the headline, because what it really says is that mixed-age platforms like Roblox are allowed to collect information only if it's to verify a user's age, and as long as there's a non-biometric alternative like using an ID. So Roblox responded to the people you